Hello there, Aquarius. Welcome back to Misfits of the Zodiac. My name's Ace. I'm going to be doing a monthly reading for you today for the month of August. I'm going to be picking 3 cards from your recent past, 3 cards for your present energy, and 3 cards for your future. And we will finish off the reading by picking out 2 oracle cards to sum up everything. If this resonates with you, I would love to have you subscribe and come back as a misfit and get your monthly readings and hopefully soon weekly readings as we're building the channel from the ground up. Ooh. Also, if this resonates, getting a comment, letting me know that it resonated, or a little thumbs up also is helpful. Any of those is great. I hope this is helpful and meaningful to you. This might not resonate with everyone, just so that you are aware of that. This is a general reading for your sign, Aquarius. But hopefully it does resonate. 3 more cards from your future. About 1 flip. Yep. Cool. Look, I gotta keep going. 2 more cards. And okay. Cool. All right, let's get started. All right, so your first 3 cards. So your recent past, you have the World Tree, the High Priestess, and the Queen of Athames with the Queen of Swords in the normal tarot. So in your recent past, there may be some cycle ending and some beginning. I love this depiction because it shows all the different seasons of the year here. It's a beautiful card. It also has the snake at the bottom, which is kind of representational of the snake eating its own tail, okay? And it's basically the beginning of something, but as a result of an ending of something else. So there might be some big cycle or some smaller cycle that is wrapping up for you or has just wrapped up for you in your recent history that is allowing you to have a brand new beginning. Okay, so like I said, with that in mind, making sure you're cutting out anything that isn't resonating anymore will allow you to have a brand new beginning, because sometimes we hold on to baggage from a previous cycle, and we want to try to envelop new energy, and the only way to do that is to kind of snip out anything that's no longer working so that we can bring new energy to the new cycle, if that makes sense. And I think because you ended up with the Queen of Athames, that's kind of talking about that as well, potentially. So it seems like you, either just before August or at the very beginning of August, you're ending one cycle and you're beginning a new cycle, which is really cool. Your next card is the High Priestess. This is asking you to use your intuition, okay? She is using the moon lunar energy to bring it into her cauldron here, but she is foreseeing something. Her gut instinct is telling her something and she's trusting it. So when you're starting this new cycle, you might be getting some downloads from your guides, from God, from your, goddess or God, whatever you work with, universe, however you perceive source, or your inner higher self is giving you information, and this is asking for you to trust it because you're at the beginning of a new cycle. Sometimes because there's like new energies happening, it feels a little uncomfortable, and we're like, ooh, I gotta be out of my comfort zone. I don't know if this is gonna work or not because I've never tried it before. Trust your gut on it. The way that you can differentiate whether it's your intuition or something else is if it has an emotion attached to it. If there's fear attached, if there's any other emotion attached other than just, boom, you got a download real quick, it's probably not your intuition. So check in with yourself, see if that's the case. If there's energy attached to it, i.e. an emotion attached to it, it's probably not your intuition. But there might be some downloads that you're receiving at the beginning or just leading into August that are going to help you kind of restart this, have this brand new restart, okay? I like the fact that because we have the World card, which is all about, you know, ending of cycles and the beginning of new. I like that you have the Queen of Athames as a part of this triad that we have going on here, because she is not only standing in her power, she's cutting out any of the BS. She's cutting out anything that's not working, okay? I like too that there's like this little bird outside, a representation of air energy. This is also you in your power. You're an air sign. So this is all about you being in your power, finding out what's not working or what didn't work in the previous cycle so that you can move into a new one. This could be in business, could be in a brand new project, and just learning from old previous experiences and then cutting off all of the slack, anything that didn't work before, and just doubling down on the stuff that worked. That's what the embodiment of this card feels like, okay? So, sounds like it's a really great fresh start for you starting out the month of August. So, that being said, it's interesting that you got that because you have a lot more air energy, which is great because you're in your power. You have the 10 of Athames, you have the King of Athames, and you have the 7 of Pentacles. So, with this card, it's sometimes kind of a heavy card. It's the 10 of Swords, which is usually kind of challenging energy. This person she's sitting with her thoughts here, and she is burning anything, again, that isn't working. She's cutting things out of her life, looking at anything that is not serving her anymore, right? So in the main tarot, in the original tarot, in the 10 of Swords, there's a gentleman that is laying on his stomach and his back is facing up, and he has his fingers like this, which is a sign of luck because he's starting a new cycle. So it kind of ties back in with the world tree in that way. And there's like this horizon behind him that is seeing the beginning of some light coming, okay? So this is telling me that at the beginning, more than likely, of your month, because it's your top card, so it's more of like the beginning energy of your month, you're cutting out what no longer serves, but there's still some like burning up of any bad negative energy or anything that's like stagnant energy from the previous cycle, and you are moving towards the horizon and you have luck on your side, okay? So be mindful of that. It could be kind of heavy though at the very, very beginning. So just to give you a heads up, might not be. It might be very easy for you because you are an air sign to just cut off the extra fat and just work through the energy really quickly. But take time to, if you feel like sometimes when we're going into a new cycle, we need to give ourselves time to grieve what didn't work before, because we might have had certain expectations that were tied to it. And it's not going to help us if we're trying to move into new energy if we're still stuck on old stuff that doesn't work, okay? So, you have the King of Athames, or the King of Swords. Again, all air energy. Great to see. He's in his power. This could be talking about new contracts. I always like to point out that this is also making sure that you're being aware of any fine print. You're making sure that all the I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. If you're looking over documents, just giving them one more look over than you might normally. But it seems like you're in discernment. You're being very, very clear about what you want. This also, just throwing this out there, because I'm noticing you do have also the Queen of Athames and you have the King of Athames. So this was from your previous energy and your new energy, but this is a perfect match, okay? You have the King and the Queen of Swords, or Athames, okay? So this could be you finding your other half. This could be you finding, it might not be in love. It might be a best friend, someone that you very much resonate with. They could be another air sign. And it feels like a perfect match. This is for some of you, obviously not all of you. So be aware of that. There might be someone in your immediate surrounding that in this new cycle that you're beginning, it could be a new love cycle, okay? And you're finding, finally, you're able to let go of all the previous engagements, all the previous connections with other people from your past, and moving on to this King of Athmes. It doesn't really matter the gender. It's just the energy that you inhibit. But this is yin and yang vibes, okay? So this could be a very, like, great month to put yourself out there and maybe meet another air sign that connects with you, or just someone that feeds with you, works well with your energy, okay? The next card that you have is the Seven of Pentacles, okay? This is talking all about not rushing things to a conclusion, okay? You've been working really hard towards something, and he's polishing off these pentacles here. This tells me that there's maybe just a little bit more work to do to start this new cycle. Don't rush it, because all of this work will be potentially for naught if you rush the ending of it and you don't put all of this detail-oriented beauty that you've added to the project, or to whatever it is that resonates with you with this. There might be this feeling to, like, oh, I'm so close, I just got to get it over with. Try not to do that, okay? Try to take the same amount of time, the same amount of energy and effort that you have been putting into it this whole time. You've worked so hard for this. You're right at the very end and about to, like, experience some, the Eight of Pentacles, which is you kind of like bossing up in a way and going from the apprentice to something that's more grounded in reality and more sure and confident of themselves. So take the time to continue to work through your skill, hone your skill. Don't force it or rush it, okay? That's mostly what this energy is saying. And because you're starting a brand new cycle with a lot of this too, this King of Athmes also might be saying, like, again, don't rush through these contracts. If you're receiving a new contract for work, or if you're an entrepreneur and you're receiving a contact from a client, or a contract from a client, sorry, making sure you take the time and the due diligence to look over it, and don't just be like, oh, I've worked with this person 100 times, it's fine, everything is fine. There might be some detail in the contract. Again, don't be paranoid, but just make sure you're looking over it. You're not just like flying through it, okay? That would be my only advice with that. And again, with your own discernment, take it or leave it, whatever works for you. So in your very close future, you have the Star, the Five of Wands, and the Three of Wands. So with the Star energy, you could be receiving a wish. This could also be healing, okay? She is, this is I love the fairy energy in this. She's under the moonlight and she is dreaming, okay? So there could be a dream coming in for you in the near future. It could be at the end of August, beginning of September. And all of this hard work and this potentially difficult cycle that you've worked through is now coming to fruition, and you're starting to see some dream come into reality, and it's not just a dream anymore, okay? So this also could be healing. So this could be you healing from a previous relationship, and through this new relationship, you're realizing, oh, wow, the reason I had to let everything else from my past go was because it was not serving me. It was actually maybe kind of toxic. And now you're healing as a result, and you're doing whatever it needs to heal your heart so that you can kind of move on into this next cycle with a fresh perspective and not drag old baggage into a new relationship potentially. Okay, that's a really beautiful card. The next card that you have is the Five of Wands. So a lot of the times I get the feeling this card is all about like working together in a group. I don't always bring this up, but I was being called to like look at these tiny little ants down here. Hopefully you can see them. They're on this like little stick down here. For me, this is, again, it is definitely working in a group potentially, but it's more about each one of you, and this could be a group, it could be two of you, bringing stuff to the table and helping each other, working with each other, putting the aces in their places, as it were, okay? So the best way for you to receive bounty and everyone involved to receive bounty is if you find ways to cooperate with one another. This card is all about cooperation, okay? And if you understand anything about ants, they can move way bigger things in their own body, and they help each other, and they work as a team to figure things out, to work, like literally move mountains to them. Okay, so this is asking you to find ways to seek what you bring to the table and know what you bring to the table, but then also see it in others, what they bring to the table, and working with each other so that you're working harder, not smarter, not harder. Okay, so that feels very much like a very cooperative energy. All right. So, your last card for this in your near future is the Three of Wands. So, again, this feels very much like you've been putting it out there. You've been wanting something for a really long time. And this is you seeing your ships come in. This could be some overseas energy. This could be you doing some traveling and moving from wherever it is you might be at, literally moving somewhere else, or you might just be like thinking about potentially going somewhere else to do work, or broadening your business to include other territories. Okay. This is telling me that it's working, but you're also getting back a lot more than you expected, a lot more than what you originally thought you would get in return as a result of putting your feelers out there. Okay. So this is a very positive energy. And I feel like as a result of working cooperatively with others and healing any past traumas, any past issues, is allowing you to receive a lot in return as a result. Something that you wouldn't have necessarily expected. So you have some exciting news on the horizon, as it were. I'm going to go ahead and pick a card from my animal spirits. Wild Unknown. Okay, that was a lot of cards, but the buffalo was the only one that was flipped over. Sorry if that was loud. I didn't mean for that to be too loud. I gotta stop, like, hitting the cards on the table. I do that a lot, and I don't realize it until I'm editing, and I'm like, oh my god, stop. So, you have the buffalo, and then we're going to pull a card from my wild things. This is kind of a shadowy card. I like the way that this kind of takes the shadow element and flips it on its head. So this might be the healing element that we were talking about with the star card. Something that maybe some shadow work that needs to be done so that you can have like a really strong beginning to your new cycle. Okay. So, quiet the anxiety monster. That's actually, I love that card. Honestly, it's like one of my favorite cards in this deck because I have a lot of anxiety. So it always kind of puts things into perspective and reminds me to like not let my anxiety take over my life. And that might be what you're healing from this month. And you working with trusted others might help bring some of that to light so that you can work through it and be a better collaborator with others. Buffalo is what you got. Grounded yet heavenly, practical yet spiritual. The hooves of the mighty buffalo are grounded in the earth, yet its heart and mind rise towards heaven. The buffalo sees challenge, hardship, or a bump in the road as an opportunity to upliftment. Therefore, the buffalo does not fear death, illness, or misfortune. Its gentle eyes look to the road ahead, trusting every turn. May we all experience this elusive yet life-changing bliss from time to time. And may we allow this card to remind us that life is a precious gift. When in balance, trusting, pure presence. When out of balance, restless, lacks gratitude. To bring into balance, prayer and Shakti. So, that to me feels very much like, honestly, it's kind of like this King of Athames vibe. It feels like you understand that you're moving into a new cycle, and instead of getting caught up in the energy, you're cutting all the stuff out. You know exactly what needs to be like kind of burned in this cauldron with the 10 of Athames. Whatever is not serving you anymore, you're seeking it out, you're seeing it, and you're cutting it out with the King of Athames, okay? And you're moving forward with all your hooves on the ground, and you're like planted and ready to move into this next cycle. So that's a very positive energy, in my opinion. And then we have quiet the anxiety monster. So this is number 37, in case that's important to you. Moments of anxiety, stress, and overwhelm are like heavy rocks landing in your life in places you don't necessarily want them. You don't have to entertain them or make them worse by asking, what's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. Any unsupportive, unloving reactions towards yourself in times of stress is a direct result of trauma. Interesting. When you got the star card, you might be working through some of that. Like a heavy stone, it will weigh you down. Your rocky thoughts are not your responsibility. Thoughts happen. They tumble and they jumble of their own accord. Your responsibility is what you do with them. When you focus on what's wrong with a sense of fear, lack, or incompatibility, you pile heavy boulders onto an already burdened psyche. Right now, you're being invited to consider all of the situations where you succeeded, accomplished, or surprised yourself. The same energy is available to you now, but only if you'll carry those bolder thoughts on your, only if you stop carrying those bolder thoughts on your shoulders. That's so interesting. I feel like, because again, you get the Queen of Wands, or the Queen of Swords, and also the King of Swords. This could be, like I said before, like companion, like compatible energy, but it could be because you went from the Queen to the King, you going from being in your head to really being in your head, because it went from the Queen to the King. Not that that is like the Queen is lesser than the King. That's not what I'm saying. But like in the succession of how things would move through a cycle, you're being upgraded to the next level of anxiety, because this is all air energy, which is your head. This is you potentially like ruminating on things. So not, if this is something that you have done in the past and it's not served you, that might be the thing that the King or the 10 of Athames is asking for you to cut out. Trying to remind yourself of all the things that worked well for you, all the things that you've done well, will help you to quell some of these like anxious thoughts that are keeping you in your head and not allowing you to experience this new cycle that's coming in for you this month, okay? I hope this helped. If it resonated, like I said, I would love to hear from you in the comments, or have you come back as a misfit by subscribing to the channel. And I look forward to doing another one of these for you for the month of September next month. So maybe subscribe and hit the bell so that you get a notification and you don't miss next month's. And until then, I will see you soon. Bye, Aquarius.